You can try you can try practicing in this in your class from tomorrow onwards. Next day onwards, you go to your class. Please try to start it, and you can train your children how to approach not only PISA exam, they should become scientists and they should win Nobel Prizes and all. So much is there. Okay. So coming to PISA 2025, the first, what is the overall approach? So what is the context we are going to test is personal, local, and global. Till now, we have been doing textbook concepts. We create MCQs, open-ended question answers and stuff. But now anything you think of, you need to think personal level, local level, and global level. So, and then, so these are the contexts. So what do you mean by personal level when you think of hazards? Okay, hazards, when you think of personal level, I should be safe, I should not let my child climb a stair, something like that. Those are all personal. And when you go local, it becomes the government tries to do few things when diseases come, so it comes to local level. When epidemic and stuff happens, it becomes global level, like COVID, SARS, and all it was happening. So any concept you take up, you have to make questions or train the children in personal level, local level, global level. Like Bloom's taxonomy, we were doing from knowledge, understanding, application, analysis, like that. So this is what first we should keep in mind. And what competencies is expected. So the first thing is they should be able to explain everything scientifically, not taking for granted whatever we tell or whatever they hear. That is the first thing. I'll go about it in a little explanatory things I'll do little later. Then construct and evaluate design for science inquiry. So you have to create situation in your class. I'll help you how to create situation in your class, and how we give the comments or come to a conclusion critically, always with evidence and data. That also I will explain to you how to do in your classroom. The third is research, evaluate, and use scientific information for decision making and action. That is very clear. I think I need not explain it much. And then, how can we attain these competencies? I can attain these competencies with our knowledge. Okay, so what is the main thing in knowledge is the content. If the content is not there, you cannot do anything about it, correct? So the first, in the knowledge, we have the content knowledge, the procedural knowledge, and the epistemic knowledge. So in the procedural knowledge, we know, being science people, doing all the experiments in your classrooms, coming to what level of accuracy we are doing, what are the precautions to be taken, how to do it in a better way, what are the factors affecting, external factors, internal factors, everything will be considering in that. And epistemic knowledge. What is epistemic knowledge is sort of like our assertion and research type question. You give a thing, the children analyze critically and come out with a solution. That is epistemic knowledge. It has some values also. So what is the final thing is scientific identity. Like the PISA is covering the affective domain, the psychomotor domain, and the cognitive domain. So cognitive domain I have explained. You can see here in scientific identity, beliefs, attitudes, environmental awareness, concern, everything is considered. So it is a holistic approach. So when you make an MCQ or when you make a descriptive questions, you have to take care of the empathy and the attitude and concern for the environment and everything. Is that up to this clear? So this should be our approach. Moving on. Sorry. Give me a second. My computer got stuck. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Why is it stuck?
Maybe try stop sharing it and then reshare again, ma'am.
Sorry. No key is working. What do I do?
Ma'am, you can share your presentation with me if you would like, and I can present it from my end. Or you can try leaving the meeting and entering again.
No. No key. Nothing is working. I don't know what to do. Can I switch off and switch on and join again?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Sorry.
That should be fine. No worries. It's okay. Completely okay. I'm so sorry for the technical issue. Please give us a few seconds while we sort it out on my side. Thank you so much for your patience.
Okay. I'm really sorry about it. Now, how to approach PISA 2025? That is what is our aim. Now, moving on. So what is personal, local, and global? That is the first discussion I am going to do. So the first one is health and diseases. As I told you, health and diseases can be personal, also local, when it becomes an epidemic in the local area, and it can be global, as I explained to you little earlier. Hazards also, just now we discussed. And now, what are the competencies? The competency is, the first one is to explain the phenomena scientifically. All of us are talking about diabetes nowadays. So what is diabetes? Ex doctor will give one medicine and your sugar level does not go down. You go to some other doctor, he will give you some other medicine. Suddenly somebody say, Ayurveda, it works better, Unani, it works better, Siddha medicine, it works better. So many things people keep saying. Are we going to listen to them, listen to all of them and change our medicine whenever HbA1c does not come down? No. So what we are supposed to do, when they change the tablet, when my doctor changes the tablet from Galvesmed to Janumet, I am going to see the composition in that. And then I have to approach it scientifically. What is the success rate of Galvesmed and what is the success rate of Janumet? Like that I am going to analyze. And then only I am going to come to a conclusion whether I should change the medicine or not. So basically every phenomena we should apply the scientific apply and approach scientifically. That is the first thing. And next one is, next competency is, you have to create scientific inquiry to your children. Look at this clipping. Is my PowerPoint clear for all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Because if I make it full screen, I'm not able to play. Something went wrong. I don't know. Is it okay if I play like this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, second competency is, we have to create situation in the classroom for scientific inquiry. And you have to tell children to interpret it, ask many questions as they want. Just look at this meme. It can be anything. So it was saying, without a single degree, they built road on those days. Okay. And look at the roads now, it is with puddles. So just when you give this to the children, some of us might just laugh and leave it. Some of us might thinking, what did they do in that time and what are we doing now? Some of us may think all these things coming in the internet are just like that, it is coming, just like that we ignore. So instead of doing that, when you see a clipping like this, please give it in your classroom so that the children start inquiring and they start interpreting, they get the scientific data and find the evidence, and they let them come to a conclusion whether this is reliable or not. That is the second competency you are going to develop in your classrooms. Okay, moving on. The third competency is research, evaluate, and then you take the decision making. The IMD forecasts weather, all of us know that. When they do that, how are they doing? They do the research, where the tectonic plates are, what is the rainfall, what is the, where is the sun now, how much hot it is the, what is global warming, ozone layer. So much research they do, evaluate, and then they come to a decision and they tell us today temperature will be this much. It might be rainy, it might be cloudy. So this is the next research aspect. So starting from now to your 15-year-olds, you can give small research projects where they research and come to a conclusion. So all these things we develop in our classroom. So when we do it in daily, everyday, day-to-day life, children will be getting a whole idea about it and they'll be able to apply it in the examination. Moving on. So what is the content knowledge PISA is expecting? First, they are expecting physical system. So what is physical system? Is our normal physics and chemistry, like motion, atoms, molecules, all those stuff. Next is living system. What about living systems? We have, it is mostly biology, genes and cells, plants, animals, evolution, ecosystem, biosphere, all these things will be covered in that. And then comes Earth and space system that require the knowledge of. Earth and space system is sort of our geography and social sciences. Mostly history is not there, but it is mostly geography and our social sciences. So what do we deal with? What all topics we deal here? We deal with atmosphere, the the geosphere, hydrosphere, and the minerals, energy, water supply, interaction with earth systems, and earth, origin of the universe. So many things we are going to deal with this. So it is not just with physics and chemistry, and some part of geography and social sciences is also involved. So when you train the children, please train them in this also. So this is the overall view of the PISA, what they are expecting from the students. Now moving on, I'll cover one by one competency using a small MCQ. How to create, I'll help you. Later, I'll do a big question for you. Now, so first is the content knowledge. All of us agree the content knowledge, first the conceptual clarity is very, very important. So when you are going to do an MCQ, we first think, I am teaching density topic in the classroom. So density topic I am thinking, and then I am thinking of a scenario to write the stem of the MCQ. So what is the scenario? There are two objects, P and Q, maybe a ball and a stone or whatever it is, and there is a liquid in a beaker, and I'm not telling what is that liquid. So I know ball floats in the liquid and stone sinks in the liquid, and I can have the solution as water. But I don't say all these things. There is an object P, there is an object Q, and there is a liquid. Okay, and this is the scenario I am having in mind. Now, how to set an MCQ? For this, I have to set an MCQ. So, can anybody? Any ideas? Anybody want to tell any answer? You can unmute yourself and tell me, how can you create an MCQ for this scenario? Please unmute yourselves.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am. Maybe the question can be what do you think that object P could be, and then we can give some options.
Very good.
Or like, what is object Q? What could object Q be, and then give some options like cork, stone, wood, and things like that. So maybe we can check that. Or
and you should get the liquid also.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Very good. Very good. Good. So what I have constructed is what you said, similar to that. Can you see that? Which row? So density means, when the density is less, the object floats. Density of the object is less than the density of the liquid means object floats. If it is more, it is going to sink. So instead of giving example, I have given numerical. That's the only difference. So I have given density of the object P, density of the object Q, and density of the liquid. So the children look at this table. So when I look at row 1, I know it is not possible because density of P is more than density of the liquid. So it is ruled out. So they are going to analyze what they learned. So this is the first knowledge, just the conceptual knowledge I am testing. So for this, you have the scenario, set the question, choose the I should call it as distractors, not the options. So you give the distractors. So instead of, you can give object wise also, as somebody was telling. That is also perfect. Moving on. So now this is the second scenario. There is a weightless rod which is supported at a point P. Okay, so the rod stands like this. And there is a helium balloon over here and a mass is hung at 20. So this is the situation. Right now the rod is horizontal. This is the situation. So all of you first think about the situation before you do the question. So this is the situation. So can you think of a question for this? I should call it a stem of the MCQ. That is called the stem. Anybody? Anyone?
Ma'am, could we substitute it with some other gas instead of helium, like any other heavy gas?
Ah.
And then how will the fulcrum, where will it get equilibrium? Definitely, it's going to shift according to the gas. So that can be
Yes.
another situation given.
Yes, that is another situation. That is called as a sibling question. This is the
Yeah.
scenario with helium. So if the same scenario, you change it with some other gas or some other mass, it becomes a sibling question. Sibling questions are, we keep one concept straight with us and we can exchange and interchange a few things in that, and then we get we make another few 4 or 5 questions with that. Okay. But for this scenario, I have designed a question. Okay. So what action causes the rod to rotate clockwise? So the rod should go up like this. Okay, that is the scenario. So we understand mass should be moved, balloon should be moved, or one of it should be moved, or both of them should be moved. So many possibilities are happening. Thus, what you can do is you can create this scenario in the lab and ask your children to try out this experiment also. And what could be the options? I want to give the position of mass and the balloons. Okay. So mass, where is it position? Balloon, where is it position? So I know moving the ball to the 40 centimeter mark and moving the mass to 30 centimeter mark. So what you can do is this question, you can give it in your classroom and ask the children to try it out in the lab or even in the classroom or in the desk itself. You can keep a ruler and try it. So with the different scenarios, and you can set up a question like this. So the distractors go like this. How should I move the balloon? How should I move the mass? So, and then after you do this question, what you can do is we can go for sibling question. So what is a sibling question? What happens when the rod is, now I told rod should rotate clockwise direction. So what happens when the rod rotates in anti-clockwise direction? And as somebody told, it's a very good question. What happens when the gas more denser than air is replaced for helium? And then you can talk about the scenario, ball is in the left and mass is in the right, or ball is in the right, balloon is in the left, mass is in the right. So many sibling questions you can create. So with one scenario, with one concept, you can create so many questions, so that your question bank, you will have a question bank. Every time you want to set an MCQ, you can use one of it, and then you can train your children. Moving on. Next, still we are taking one example from chemistry. All of us know electrolysis. So what happens in an electrolysis? The metal gets deposited. We know that. So we have an aqueous copper 2 sulfate solution, and we have an anode and cathode, and arrow is given. Can somebody tell me how to, for this scenario, how can you create a stem? The arrows are there. Keep that in mind. And can you tell me any?
We can ask them what could be 1 and what could be 2, or where the particular metal and the components will get deposit, whether at anode or
Very good.
cathode.
Very good. So it is knowledge come procedure.
Procedure, right.
Very good. Very good. So
Or a sibling question could be if we change and replace the solution there.
very good. Very good. So the sibling question would be, yes.
Can it be, ma'am, when we change the terminal of the battery also? Then what's going to happen?
Correct. So battery positive is in the left side and negative is in the right side. If I change it, what is going? So many. So that's what I'm trying to say. Instead of searching for questions, MCQ questions in the internet or going to that, it will not satisfy us, because we browse for hours and hours, and then finally we are not satisfied. So you keep the concept, create the stem, create the distractors, then you go create all sorts of sibling questions from that. See, in the first moment itself, you are able to tell 2-3 minutes later, you sit and work on it, you will be getting more and more questions. Do you agree with me? So I have created one question, which is, I have asked which arrows indicate the movement of copper. That's what somebody told me. how it gets deposited in a different way you told me, correct? So which arrow indicate the movement of copper in the electrolyte and of electrons? So I want to know whether electrons flow from negative to positive or from positive to negative. They should be clear about it. And then they should be clear about anode and cathode, where things get deposited. All the conceptual knowledge is done using this experiment. So your distractors are, it's like copper is getting, one is the movement in which copper is going. So this is how you create the distractors. Is that clear?
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
we
Yes,
did
ma'am.
concept. For first one we did, then we did procedural knowledge, and now we are moving to one more procedural knowledge, which we are actually not doing, which we are imagining will be if it happens, like, okay, monkey climbing a rope, all of us can imagine what is going to happen. So I am giving a scenario. Okay, so what is the scenario? So don't go and search for a lot of things. Okay, just type 2-3 sentences, it becomes a scenario. So just a monkey is sitting on a tree. Ram is suddenly running. So on hearing the sound, monkey got scared and it was hanging in the rope. That's all. Nearby tree, and it is just hanging in a rope. So what all I can have it as the learning outcome? I can ask about force, I can ask about tension, I can ask about acceleration, speed, velocity, uniform speed, all these lessons put together, like motion lesson and force lesson, I can use for creating questions in that. Anybody gets any question for this scenario? I have given you the concepts also, knowledge concepts also.
What type of force are acting when monkey is climbing? The very simple question. It could be types
Yes.
of force acting.
So monkey climbing up, one type of question, monkey climbing down, one type of question you can ask, correct? And you should remember now, when you try to create the distractors, all of us say 4 distractors, 4 distractors, 4 distractors. Like that is the generally we are using. But when you set a stem, and if you are not able to create 4 distractors, is absolutely okay. You can give 3 distractors, because what is the point of giving none of these? All of these and all are not good distractors. Okay, so you can avoid them. And sometimes I will show you an example little later. Some distractors are totally ruled out in the first place itself. So those type of distractors do not give, because ma'am was telling what acts when it climbs down means I can think of only 2 distractors. I cannot think of 4 distractors. So either keep only 2 distractors, or you can change the stem of the question. Okay, anything else comes to anybody's mind?
We can ask question on sound as well, ma'am.
Tell me how.
It can be that how does how does the sound reach from ram to monkey?
Correct, you can ask. Correct. Sound travels by, that is the simple cognitive level question. Correct. Anything first, sound, how long did it take, how fast monkey climbed, so many things you can ask. Like we have in physics, the braking distance, thinking distance, and stopping distance, we do it in physics, right? So you see an obstacle when you are moving in a car, you see some animal or people crossing the road, thinking distance is that you have to stop. Then you have braking distance, and then it stops at a distance. So all these things you can put into use. Okay, so I have set one question for you. The stem is, I'm clearly physics numerical I am creating here. A monkey of mass 40 kilogram climbs on a rope which can stand a maximum tension of 600 newtons. I'm giving 10 meters per second squared for easy calculations. And which of the following cases will the rope break is my question. So what are the options I am giving? It is climbing with acceleration, climbing up, climbing down, with uniform speed, or falls down the rope nearly under gravity. So these are the questions I am, distractors I am giving for the question. You can think if this question will have lot of sibling questions, because somebody told sound, somebody told velocity, somebody told acceleration. So it can have many sibling questions. So with one scenario, you can create some 10 questions and keep it ready for your children. Moving on. This is epistemic knowledge. I told you epistemic knowledge is analyzing and coming to a critical conclusion. Okay, it can be empathy, sympathy related also. It can be subject related also, both together also, because in the examination, they'll be giving questions like in one of the papers I found, vegetarian versus non-vegetarian. So there were so many options were given, so much scenarios were explained, and and why people are becoming vegan nowadays. So many reasons. In that, the children analyze and they come to a conclusion whether I should be a vegetarian, whether I should be a non-vegetarian, or I should be a vegan. Like that, they come to a conclusion. Now, look at this graph. Look at the solubility curve of various chemicals are given over here. Who is going to tell me the question for this? STEM for this.
Ma'am, we can frame it according to the compounds which are given. We can simply ask which one is more soluble at this temperature.
Very good, very good, very good.
How
So
can-
40 degree, which is the
Which
most
one is more as such, if you talk about the solute per 100 gram of water, which one you think is at room temperature will be more
very good.
dissolved? Yes.
Correct, correct. Reading the graph. Am I correct? So they just look at 40 and look at all the curves and then see whether they are meeting at 40 or not. Okay, now that is a
Ma'am,
very
one
good question.
question can be grafted on this, taking pharmacist as a important example, that how do they prepare a medicine, a scientist preparing a medicine? I mean, the composition of a medicine, how do they decide that what all composition will fit into this solvent? And that is
Very
becoming on the basis of the solubility of the
correct,
compound.
correct. Very, very, very good. So you are going global, global
can-
level. Very nice.
One thing we can also do, ma'am, we can ask the application-based question, where is the solubility curve is used? What is the
Correct.
purpose of knowing the solubility curve
Very good.
in our day-to-day life? We are using these medicines, syrups and all.
Correct.
So we are using that concept over here.
Very good. That is also a very good
Ma'am, hello,
question.
ma'am.
Yes, please.
Ma'am, we can ask that name a salt whose solubility remains independent of the change in temperature.
Very
Or
nice.
name the salt whose solubility increases maximum due to rise in temperature.
Very good.
Or which salt solubility decreases due to rise in temperature. There may be three scenario.
Correct. So you are kings and queens of making MCQs, right? So just a scenario is required. So see, you just now you made 10 to 15 questions. Somebody is telling, please. Somebody was telling something.
We can also ask the question like at what temperature the solubility of two different compound could be the same, and what would be the impact of those compound if they mix together at the same solubility level at same temperature.
Correct, correct. So for all the questions,
ask that, if I want to crystallize, say four or five of these, which one would be easier to crystallize or get a better crystal?
Correct. The reverse question. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So now you think about, for all the stems you said, are you able to think about the distractors? That is our next level. Am I correct? You can ask it as open-ended also. You can ask, why do you think NaNO3 can be crystallized better than KNO3? Explained with the graph. Like that also you can ask, because open-ended questions are also in PISA. So the thing is, just have the scenario, we can create n number of questions. I have set one very simple question because I want to talk about wrong options. That is the reason. So I have created, how does the solubility of potassium iodide solid change as the temperature decreases? So there is a small line in the top left of the graph. So you can look at that. So based on this, how is the solubility of potassium iodide change according to the temperature, whether it increase or decrease. So that is the question. So my options are, question 1 is solubility decreases, option 2 is solubility increases, and the distractor 3 is solubility remains the same, and distractor 4 is solubility at first increase and then decrease. Specifically, I am reading these options for this question. Can somebody tell me why?
Ma'am, solubility increases with the rise in temperature because
Correct.
the graph is going up.
Correct. Why did I read all the options?
That word solubility is getting repeated, which is not essential.
Tell me again.
The word solubility is repeated in the options, which is not required. This should be
Okay.
part of the stem.
Okay.
Because it
When
is
you read it
solubility
out, it
curve.
sounds a little awkward.
Sir,
Okay.
according to me, because it is the solubility curve, there is a variation of solubility with the variation in temperature. That's why this word is repeated in every cases.
Okay.
According to me. Okay.
Something more?
Well, if you
Repetition of such words is not required in the option. This, if any word is to be part of all the options, that should be part of the stem, not of the options.
Okay. Little
Probably
more.
when you read it out, that repetition of words, that how it sounds odd.
Odd. Yes, yes. And time also wasted. Little more.
Nothing beyond that.
if you're giving two options like increases and remains the same, then what is the point of giving the option A? Because it's going to
That is-
increase and remain the
yes.
same, or first
Yes.
increase and decrease.
Yes.
So one
For
of the
this-
options is species.
Yes, yes. Please continue. So which option is meaningless? Hello?
Solubility remains same.
Correct. Because it is a straight line and a straight line has a positive slope.
Solubility
So if it
remains
has
the
a
same.
positive slope, the slope increases, right? So with the temperature, it increases. So increase, decrease is okay. They will be confused. But option C and option D are completely meaningless. Am I correct?
Yes.
So this probability of getting the answer is 1/4 in a four option MCQ. But when I make an MCQ like this with the distractors, these two are useless. The probability of getting the answer becomes 1/2. So it is not a valid test. Somebody is telling something.
50-50, ma'am. Then
I can't
chances
hear.
of chances of
Yeah. So that's what I was talking about. Whenever you give the distractors, it should be sensible. There is no hard and fast rule for distractors to be given. And also, when the exam demands that you should give 4 options, please change the stem. Do not ask a question like this. That is the next very important thing in creating the MCQ. Is the concept clear for all of you? Because
Yes,
many at times we just like that give
Yes,
2
ma'am.
options. Yes or no? Agree with me.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So now when I showed this curve, everybody told me thousands of, I at least got 15-20 questions. So why don't you change the question itself if you cannot give 4 distractors? Or give just 2 distractors if the question paper allows you. Is that okay? Can I move on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
So these are the small scenarios we saw where each, yes. Yes. I can't hear. Okay. Now, moving on. So one more question I am asking here. So you all must have seen long jump and high jump people run and jump either horizontally or vertically, right? Now, why does an athlete run some steps before taking a jump? This is next scenario. You can see they are all very simple, but scientific concepts are involved here. Okay, so can you tell me a stem for this? Quick. one simple question could be, which Newton's law applies to this also? You can ask, because the inertia, when you run, you're overcoming your inertia, so it helps you to jump higher or jump longer. So that could be one question. Or you can ask, you can create a sibling question for this. When you move in a bus, from the moving bus, if you get down, and if you do not run along with the bus, you fall down. Okay, this situation you can add it to the interrelate with this. So it gives you one forward motion. When you run in the front, it gives you one forward push so that you are able to jump longer or higher. So those type of questions you can create in this. Okay, moving on. For this, I definitely want answer from one of you. Can you do an MCQ? Can you tell me any STEM for this? It's common. Anybody can tell. It's like olden days firewood cooking.
Atmospheric pressure, we can ask question on
Comparison of the
atmospheric pressure.
fuels.
Why the
Comparison
steam
of the
goes up?
fuels.
Okay.
Why
So,
does the why is the cooking
Ma'am.
faster in a cooker as compared to a pot?
okay. Can you
Okay.
create options? Distractors?
Heating.
Distractors can be the vapor pressure and atmospheric pressure becomes equal. Based upon
Very
those,
good.
we can give them
Very
questions.
good. Very good thinking. Yes. Please continue. Next person.
Comparison
can-
of the fuels, I was saying.
Correct.
Burning of wood and LPG we are using. So again, we can ideal fuel, some comparisons can be given there.
Correct.
It has high calorific value, low calorific value,
Correct.
eco-friendly, non-eco-friendly, something like
Very
that would be
nice.
given.
Very nice. Very nice. Anybody else?
We can ask about, but one can ask that the heat required in case A and case B, are they going to be the same or different? Because, you might need more heat for a shorter time. I mean, the supply of heat for a shorter time. And in the other case, you might require lesser heat for a longer time. But does the pressure cooker require more heat because you're getting more temperature, for instance?
Yes. Perfect. Perfect.
Ma'am, we can ask, we can compare between their efficiency also, efficiency of, output or the heat energy which was given out and the heat energy which was utilized during the heating of the stuff inside the pressure cooker
Perfect.
or inside the utensil.
Yeah, that's right. We are thinking in terms of physics and chemistry. Can we think in terms of biology? Geography?
Material use means the type of metal or alloy, like cooker is made of
Perfect.
an alloy and the metal is used. Like if an
Correct.
aluminum metal is used in the other bowl, that means it's going to cook faster in that. If you
Okay.
replace that with some other metal, then what will be
We
the
can
In
faster
terms
Using
cook?
of biology, loss of nutrients when we
Very
are
good.
cooking it in
Yes.
open.
Yes. Yes.
we can
Correct.
also say like the same process, the parallel goes on the hill stations or the higher altitude. What will be the difference?
So very nice. Very nice. Very
In
good.
case of biology, you could also say that the water being used
Yes.
has got microbes. So in which case would it become safer to have food, should it be pressure cooked or should it be just boiled?
No, no.
Microbes don't die off at a lower temperature at 100 degrees also.
Okay.
No,
We can also
microbes.
talk about the emission, which is
It's
Talk
going
about
of nutrients.
nutrients. We can talk
Nutrients.
about. I
We
didn't
can talk
understand
about
the
nutrients.
microbes better. Microbes,
Because
you
both
can
are being cooked
modify
here.
the question.
Microbes effect will be
emission
same
of
in both
gases.
the
That
cases.
thing we can talk, ma'am.
Yes, yes. So, are you able to understand? Just to look at a picture anywhere, on the road, on the street, in the bus, at home, anything you look at it, you are able to create so many questions. And all of them are, all of them give you a chance to think scientifically. All of us are thinking. So this is the thing we want to do for the children now. Okay. So what you are supposed to do, give this, ask them, frame as many questions as you can, frame as many distracts as you can. And what are the concepts you can involve? I have listed a few concepts. So what is cooking? Actually, what do we need? I know physics, chemistry answer will come. So I was mostly doing in terms of biology. So why do we need to cook? What is the main, is there any issue in the adjoining figure? Why are we not using other metals? So many things. You also told so many examples. So even we can relate it to somebody was telling atmospheric pressure and a pressure inside the cooker, microorganisms. Only thing the microorganism somebody said was not very relevant, but he can make it according to the scenario and he can frame the question. Definitely, I know that. And sustainability, somebody was telling what gases are coming out, or what are the pollutants, so that fuel saving, everything you can use it. So this is our local context. Agree with me? Cooking in a firewood and cooker is our local context, India. So how can you include a picture or something or say something so that it becomes global context?
Microwave oven.
Okay. Good.
Thermal
Maybe
power
we can
station
show
and nuclear
forest
power
fire
station.
here. Sorry.
Forest fire. Okay.
Even induction can be talked about.
Very good.
Yeah.
Move on, please tell.
Solar cooker.
Solar cooker. Yes. So we think of in US what they are using, in Australia what they are using, something like that we can analyze, and then we can include a yeah. Please, somebody was telling. Okay. So we can make it into local individual. The first wooden with firewood we are doing becomes individual. Both together it becomes local because it happens in most of the houses. And when you include like microwave or solar cooker or whatever you want to use, oven and all, it becomes international. But in India also now we are using, but they are using the most. So we can so any context you take, of course it will come for individual all the time. Personal will come always, because personal people only are making local people and they are only making global people. So personal will be always there in all the intersections. Later we can make it local and we can make it global. Okay, moving on. Next, I have given a picture to you. Okay, so you must have heard of 5 R's, 3 R's. Now I have given 5 R's. One is refuse, which you have to say no to the things which you don't need. Next is reduce. Reduce, all of us know. I need not explain. Reuse also, we all of us know. Recycle, no. Hope you know the difference between reuse and recycle. Recycle is you are doing something else and then you are going to use it. Okay. And the last one is rot, which you cannot do anything about it. Put it in the sun, convert into manure, and use it as an organic waste. Okay, so these are the 5 R's. I want questions now. Stems.
Ma'am, how can we create our own composite pit at home for our kitchen waste?
Kitchen waste. Can you give me an MCQ for that? Can you convert it into an MCQ? Simple MCQ. Daily we do at home. Chennai it is compulsory.
Converting it into MCQ is like we can.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Ma'am,
Yes,
a question on segregation
Yes.
of waste.
Ma'am,
sharing
can we
waste.
give them some examples of metals and ask them which category, I mean, like, which metals can we refuse, which metal can we recycle,
Very
which
good.
metal can we reduce? So we can include mercury poisoning and all those concepts also in this.
Correct.
And also pollution.
Okay.
We can also talk about degradable and biodegradable waste for the basic
Very
science
good.
qualification.
Which we are doing every day at home. That could be a simple
Mm.
question, correct? Because they should know which is degradable, which is non-degradable. If that knowledge is not there, we cannot do much more than that. Am I correct? So that is a very important simple question. Even though it is simple, it is very important. Okay. So because of time factor, I'm showing you the questions now. So first I want to know whether the children understood the 5 R's. For that, I'm giving an example. Being science people, we understand everything only with examples. So I'm giving this. Choose products that use less packaging. Is that refuse? No. Give unwanted toys and books to hospitals or school. Is it reduce? No. That is actually reuse. Okay, I'm asking them to sort of match the following. Which one will match with what? Just I have given 4 here and 5 things are here. They have to match it. So this is one type of MCQ I can ask. Other type could be recycling is good. Everybody say recycling paper, don't cut trees, everything they say. But can you use recycled paper for packing food? That is very, very important. It is a higher cognitive level. Okay. So can you pack a food using a recycled paper? That is your next thinking level. I'm increasing the level in Bloom's taxonomy. You can relate it to Bloom's also. So why should we not use, or why should we use recycled paper, release color dyes? They should have studied completely about this concept. Recycled papers are not absorbent. Recycled papers release methane. Recycled papers are costly. So these are the few options which you can give, or you can think of any other better option also, so that whether they know. First, the thing is they should know that food items cannot be packed using recycled paper is the main thing. How many of them know? I don't know, because fancy is now recycled paper, organic, all this becomes fancy nowadays. So be cautious about it also, that we have to tell our children. Now, moving on. First, we were talking about wet waste, dry waste, hazardous waste. So how are we going to separate them? So I have given them, they should know cooked food is wet waste, like used bulb is dry waste, or is it hazardous? So we don't know. So they should be able to segregate. So one type of MCQ could be this. So which of the option? Everything is matched correctly. Okay, expired medicine, paint can, injection syringe after taking out blood. So all these things you can give in random, and they can segregate it into wet waste, dry waste, and hazardous waste. Okay, so this is another type of MCQ we can give them. Moving on. Next is, once you segregate, why should we segregate? We all say segregate, and what happens to the stuff after we segregate? So what is the reason? Okay, so one reason could be less waste goes to the landfill, because if you reuse, recycle, reduce and all, to the land and water, pollution will be less, only less waste will go. Or it is better for public health and environment, we know that. And it helps in reducing the waste. Totally the waste management becomes easy for the government. Or is it resulting in deterioration of waste pickers' health? So we are considering everything, and then we are giving the option to them. Why should we do this? So which of the options are correct? So which two are correct? So like this also you can give the distractors in the question. So do you say it is the graded level of increasing? Okay, so starting from what, given example to why should we not pack materials with recycled paper, to how to recycle. Next question I am asking is, you have a plastic water bottle. Do you recycle it along with the cap, or do you recycle it without the cap? So the concepts they must have studied in their classroom. So we are saying throw the cap and recycle the bottle, or screw the bottle and then recycle them, or whatever it is. These are the recycle the cap separately, recycle the bottle separately. So these are the options I'm giving. So the children will start thinking, what is in the cap? Why is this question coming up? So what is in the bottle? Which can be recycled? One-time plastic and all we cannot recycle. So they will think of so many so many scientific methods and then think scientifically to come to a conclusion. Okay, so this is what I want to talk about. I have one more example because I lost a few minutes. Can I explain that, ma'am? Can I take 10 more minutes because we lost around 5 minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
Last one. Okay. So now I am going to take tobacco smoking because I told you environmental things also come into the PISA syllabus. Okay. So tobacco smoking is living system because it is related to human beings, because the three systems I told you, know, physical system, living system and stuff. So it is living system. And the context is global because in local also people smoke and in global also we will smoke. People smoke, sorry. So what is the storyline I'm going to give here? I will tell it very quickly. So people are smoking cigarettes. In world, how many are smoking and what disease, lung disease or disease is caused, and people die in that. So this is the scenario I am giving. So people are taking nicotine patch to stop smoking. All of us know that. So what we are doing is we are selecting 100 smoking people who want to give up smoking. Okay. And then to 50 of them, we give nicotine patch, and to 50 of them, we are not giving the nicotine patch, and we are doing the study. That is the scenario I have given to them. Okay. Let us talk about the questions now. So can somebody tell me what could be question 1? Quick. Easy question. First question should be easy.
The first question can be just based upon the effect of nicotine patch also. Is it going to affect our lungs and breathing system as well?
Okay, simple. This is second level, third level, because
ma'am, which organ is
nicotine patch
affected by
body
smoking?
absorbs, right?
Worldwide every day.
Which organ or which system is
Which
affected by?
human organ
by
get
tobacco
affected?
smoking?
So
One
very
at a
simple
time.
question.
One at a time.
Smoking.
One of you.
Which organ? Which organ is mostly affected by tobacco smoking in our body?
Very good. Very good. This is a simple question from the paragraph. So we know they understood the paragraph. Am I correct? Very good. Move on to
Second
the
one,
next simple question.
Second one, which harmful substance tobacco contains?
Correct. So can we create distractors for that? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Easy. Yes. So, first we test the knowledge of the passage, whether they understood. For that, I have created this question. Which of the following?
Then on patches.
So how many people they are checking? That is the thing. All people in the group wear patches. All people wear patches except one who tries to give up smoking without them. Or when you want, you wear a patch, or you don't want, don't wear a patch. Or 50-50, we are giving to 100 people. So I come to know whether they understood the passage correctly. So the competency is evaluating ways of exploring the question scientifically. Why is it scientifically it is approached? Because we are choosing 10 people from random. Always samples are made random, and 100 people we are choosing. Exactly 50 we are giving the nicotine patch and 50 we are not giving. So we are doing this question scientifically. And it is a simple MCQ. As I told you, we are just understanding the passage properly. And what is the cognitive load? What do you mean by cognitive load? We know cognitive. We have heard every time we say.
The level of thinking that is involved in solving the problem.
Excellent.
Lower Bloom level. Yeah.
Your brain can take.
Bloom's level, ma'am.
Lower Bloom's level.
Yes. Okay.
Lowest Bloom level.
Knowledge and understanding we are talking about.
Okay.
Ma'am,
please.
but this is a comprehension-based question. But in case of like board exams of class 10th, science-based questions have been asked, and there is one odd question from the paragraph itself comes. Otherwise, children.
Correct. Always we start with the simple one. That's what I was asking you. Tell me first one. Comprehension question.
Fine.
Because once the passage is understood only, you can proceed, right? So the cognitive load means how much our brain can take up, okay? How much things it has to synthesis. So if you relate it to Bloom, it is higher order or lower order, like that, okay? So how much you have to analyze and synthesize in your brain, so that is called your cognitive load, okay? So this is the first simple question, and unless they answer this correctly, later they might not even answer any other question, okay? So moving to, can you tell me next cognitive load higher question, medium cognitive load question? Quick.
How are they evaluated? What will you do to find out the difference between group A and group B?
Okay, okay. Move on, continue. Someone else? Anyone?
How basically the nicotine patch works. Does
Okay.
it boost
You can give
bloodstream?
distractors for that very easily.
Yes.
More cognitive load?
Ma'am, I think we
More
can make a
cognitive
question like experiment taken up or to judge that how the tobacco affects. So you have two group of people for a different period of time they have consumed tobacco, and then what does the research come up with that, and then you have the data, and then you can put up the questions related with that.
Correct.
We can relate some question to related to active and passive smokers.
Perfect. Active and passive smokers can be the sibling question here. Am I correct? Very good.
Correct, ma'am.
Correct. So I have made a graph like this. So the graph shows, the blue color shows cigarette smoked, okay? The below graph shows per capita cigarette consumption with respect to time, and lung cancer deaths per 1 lakh with respect to time in the same graph. So somebody was telling data, because always we go by the data. Data means as soon as we get the data, we make it as a graph, you know that, because it's easy to understand graphs. So this graph is given to them. We can ask questions like, so they are going to read the graph. Increase in cigarette smoking causes a decrease in death due to lung cancer. Increase in cigarette smoking has no effect on death due to lung cancer. Increase in cigarette smoking causes an increase in death due to lung cancer after a time lag or immediately. So these are the options I am giving. So they have to go to the graph, go through that, read it properly, and they have to choose the correct distractor. Okay. Now, what is the competency level here? Critically evaluate the scientific data. So whenever graph comes, it's all critical evaluation. And it is also a simple reading of the graph. So I call it as a simple MCQ. If you want, you can call it as a medium MCQ. But the cognitive load is medium. Okay, next level of thinking, not just understanding, it's interpreting is also involved here. Okay. So from the same graph, I'm asking the next question. Okay. The graph also shows the behavioral pattern of the people in consumed cigarette over time. So which of the statement is inferred from the graph? And I am giving them 4 questions. Okay. So what are the questions? Both cigarette smoke and lung cancer deaths peaked around same time. So is it that happening at the same time? Both are peaking. But when you look at the graph in the left side in the thumbnail, it is not. Okay. So like this also, furthermore critical analysis questions you can ask. Give us the distractors. Okay. Now, then finally, you understand options 1 and 2 are correct, or 3 and 4 are correct. Like that, you can give them the distractors. Yeah. Then what is the competency level? Interpret the data and evidence scientifically. So that is the competency, interpreting. And that item is complex MCQ, because we are reading 2 graphs with 3 axes. If you see, there were 3, not only x-axis, there is x, y, and there is one more parallel y we are giving. So it's a complex situation we are giving them, and the cognitive load is difficult because they have to go, because with the x-axis, y-axis they are used to, But with this access also, they have to analyze, think, and then give the answer. So that's all from me. Any question, answers? Anybody? Did you get an overall idea what PISA is expecting?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
The areas that are to be covered if you are preparing students for PISA, plus what are the overall content to be covered, and the type of questions, the skill levels, and how questions are structured and framed in this assessment. We have gained some insight into this aspect of the PISA test.
Thank you.
We already all are doing, ma'am, but this is an eye opener and easy for us to understand the PISA concepts, how to ask the questions. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. So from now onwards, you see any picture, you will give it to your children, I think. Am I correct? Every day we get something in WhatsApp, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, because everything have to be analyzed, even if it is a joke or anything. Anything you think properly, step by step, logically is scientific. That's all. Okay. So any questions you have? Okay. Thanks, everyone. It was like really, I loved this session because everybody answered. That is the happiness for a teacher, right? So like that, I was too happy because you were all answering almost most of the questions. So it helped you. I am happy that it helped you, and you keep training the children, not only with questions, but give them a lot of insight during the classroom. Science is actually wonderful. So you have to understand. We say wonder and understand. So we call it as Wonderstand. Please do it in your classrooms and enjoy yourself and enjoy with your children. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so
Sorry
much,
for
ma'am.
the small
Thank you,
computer.
ma'am.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, ma'am. On behalf of Excel One, we really enjoyed the session. And teachers, thank you so much for joining. And ma'am, we're hoping to have you for many, many more sessions.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, from CK's group of institutions.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am, from TPS Bhopal, Ahmedabad.
Thank you.
Thank you.